Today on ATV 360, President Obama. Is he doing his job as our president? The New York Yankees. Are they on the road to a championship this year? Fundraisers at UAlbany. Do we do enough for our community? For our debate of the day, teacher cuts. What effect will the cuts have on the educational system? Plus, we will talk about Charlie Sheen and all his recent scandals. Welcome to ATV 360.
Good evening and welcome to ATV 360. I'm Lindsay McKern.
I'm Kristina Hall.
And I'm Scott Hosey.
We're going to begin our show with a controversial debate. Do you think President Obama is doing a good job as the leader of our country, Scott?
Well, I mean, I consider myself a patriot and I love my country and I don't like to be a president basher, but at the same time, I have to say that he's not getting the job done. I mean, the two biggest issues we had with his coming in as presidency was our economy and war, and he hasn't really done much about either. I mean, when you look at it, we're still in a bad situation economically. I mean, everyone, you know, there's not a lot of jobs. I mean, not a lot of people have money, and he said we were putting troops out, but I mean, we're going to be at war for a long time, it seems like, and I feel like a lot more has to be done at this point. I mean, he's almost 2 years, he's over 2 years in now, so.
Well, I mean, that's what it boils down to. You say he's over 2 years in now, but that's really not a long time. That's only halfway through his term. We got to understand, he came into this, Bush destroyed our economy, basically. He came into this at a bad time. So it's really hard for one administration to pick all that up.
Well, I feel like when you look at it, you know, Bush came into a tough time because, I mean, as soon as he stepped in as president, a lot of bad things happened, and he just dug the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. But when you look at a lot of presidents that were set up for that, like Hoover back, you know, in history during the Great Depression, I mean, he takes a lot of the blame, and he's more like the Bush. You figure that Obama would be more like FDR, you know. He helped pull and get jobs and really build this country up again. And it took a long time. It did take 9 years. But, you know, when Obama came in, he promised change. And he said he would do a lot of things. And I feel like it's been a lot of talk. And I mean, since he's been president, it's been a lot of the no drama Obama. I mean, he just really shies away from everything. He says that, you know, he really tries to dilute every situation and make a lesser deal about it. And don't get me wrong, I feel like a president should be cool and composed so, you know, people don't panic in the country. But at the same time, like, things need to be done, and it needs to be a drastic change. Like, we're not really getting anywhere right now.
Well, you say that he hasn't done really anything. That's what you're basically saying right now. But you got to take into account the health care plan. We have Obamacare. Now, you know, just because, like, it's not completely set in plan right now, yeah, the bill is passed, and I know people are trying to fight it. But when it boils down to it, that's going to help us. That's going to help us in the end. It's going to make our health insurance cheaper. If you're happy with your health insurance, okay, keep it. And if you can't afford it, the Obamacare plan is going to make it so that you can afford it for people who are less fortunate.
I'm glad you brought that up because before this whole plan, this Obamacare, whatever it was, came out, Nancy Pelosi, she said it would create 400,000 jobs almost immediately, maybe 4 million over the next decade. However, recently, our Congressional Budget Office Director, Doug Elmendorf, stated it would reduce our employment by 800,000 by the end of this decade. So basically, you know, they were saying it would help, like, pull us out, and there'd be a lot of jobs and, you know, all these unique opportunities, like helping us with unemployment and things like that. It's really backfiring a lot, and, you know, it's just another thing. It's just another problem that really isn't getting solved. I mean, sure, we should have better health care. Our health care plan isn't perfect, but this is not the way to fix it. It's just, it's not going through. It's not getting passed.
Can I ask, are you a registered voter?
Yes, I am a registered.
Were you voting for change?
I didn't vote for the last election. I didn't feel comfortable with either candidate. I'm a registered independent, and I don't know. Hopefully, the next election is someone I feel like could help our country. But
all right, guys. So final points.
My final point is just it's only been 2 years. Yes, it's a long time, but in reality, it's really not. You got to give the man to his full term. You let him go to his full term and then decide.
I think Obama's a better look for our country. You know, you see him everywhere. He's all over the place, you know, in the news. He's at sports games, things like that. But I feel like, you know, we need something a little more drastic at this time. So get out and vote in 2012.
All right, very good debate. We're now going to move into our special report brought to us by our very own ATV 360 alum, Mikkel Hailu.
The show featured students on campus showing off their talents in many respects. It opened up with the girls of Precision performing a remix of previous acts to teach us how to step and led way to the actual contestants. The acts ranged from people performing poetry, to tap dancing, to some singing and a few rapping. Acts that the crowd liked were cheered, acts that weren't were whomped, and the contestants literally swept off stage. To get in contact with Precision, go to Facebook and search Precision is so hot.
Thanks, Mikkel. Okay, now on to our next debate, the New York Yankees. Kristina, do you think the New York Yankees will win another World Series this year?
All right, well, I'm not going to say the Yankees don't have a great chance. They have a great chance at going to the World Series and possibly winning it. But they do have stiff competition. They're in a very tough division, one. They go against the Red Sox, which, okay, we all know how we feel about Boston. But they also have the Tampa Bay Rays, and not only that, even though the Blue Jays aren't that great, they still have the Blue Jays. They're pitching. That's what we really should be worried about. They have CC Sabathia, who is obviously a solid #1 pitcher, and then Phil Hughes could possibly win them 20 games. But other than that, they don't really have that strong of a rotation in their 5.
Well, yeah, that's the joke that everyone's saying now. It's basically Sabathia, Hughes, and then we lose. But I don't really get it, to be honest with you. I mean, the Yankees have made the playoffs 14 out of the last 15 seasons. Who else has done that? I mean, they're always in the mix. Beyond that, last season, the Yankees were the #1 team in baseball throughout the whole year.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand why every offseason the Yankees go out and they buy the best players, and it's a big deal, and everyone hates them for it, and they say, oh, well, if they win the World Series, it doesn't matter. The one season that we don't go out and buy the most expensive players on the market, all of a sudden we have no chance. I mean, we are, I still think, the best team in baseball.
But it doesn't matter about, it's not necessarily the payroll. That's a big thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not.
This is why I think the Yankees win the World Series. I mean, everyone's talking up the Phillies and their pitching and their hitting and what they can do and how much the Red Sox got in the offseason with left-handed hitting. But when you look at it, I mean, Juan Uribe was the best hitter for the Giants who won the World Series last year. And what did they have? 2 great pitchers in Lindsay and Kane. So, I mean, the Yankees have the 2 guys on top, and you can win that first playoff series. It's only a 5-game series. 2 pitchers will get you there. And, anything can happen in the playoffs. I think the Yankees, with their bullpen, is the best tool team to win this year. And you look at the lineup, I mean, A-Rod's thin again, he's healthy, he's ready to have a huge season this year. I mean, Teixeira, he hasn't even played up to his ability yet. Like, he's still going to have ready due for a huge career season.
But that doesn't mean it's going to happen in this season.
Well, you never know what can happen in any given season.
You don't, and I'll give you that. But when it comes to the playoffs, all right, let's think. Phillies, we're going to go there. Let's think about the Phillies. They have Cliff Lee as a starting pitcher. They also have a solid rotation. Their pitching rotation's crazy. And not only that, they can definitely compete with the Yankees on offense.
Yeah, I mean, everyone always talks about the Phillies. Obviously, they have, the best rotation in baseball, the Power 3 or Power 4, whatever you want to call it.
More like 5.
You look at the Braves in the 90s, they had the 3 best pitchers for how many years? It was a whole decade. How many World Series did they get? 1. How many did the Yankees get that decade? 4. So, I mean, you could have all those studs of pitching. I mean, Glavine, Smoltz, Maddox. And what happened? 1 World Series. The Phillies can have all that pitching, but when it comes down to it, team chemistry and postseason experience is the most important thing. The Yankees have most of that than anyone else in baseball.
Understandably. But you keep going back to what the Yankees have done. What they have done. Okay, well, we're in 2011 there, dear. Let's get started then. And not only that, in the last 3 years, the Phillies, they've played in back-to-back NL championship games. They've also gone to the World Series twice. Yeah, they only took it home once, but the Yankees, they've only gone twice. They've only gone to the championship twice, and they've only they only won the World Series once. But granted, they both won. The Phillies still did go longer than them, and this is their year.
We will see. We will see. Honestly, I feel like it will be the Yankees and the Phillies in the World Series, but I feel like we have the better home ballpark. We have the better following. We have more clutch players, and we have Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter. How could you lose with Mariano and Derek Jeter?
Final points.
Yankees, 28. We're on the way.
I'll give it to you. Yankees, they have a chance, but don't underestimate the other teams.
All right, that seemed like it was a pretty sensitive subject for the two of you. I'm glad we had that debate. So we're going to take a short commercial break, but stay tuned because there's a lot more where that came from. Welcome back. We will now move on to a report brought to us by field reporter Jason Seligson.
The Hannah's Hope Fund is the world's first and only organization for GAN disease. The proceeds from UA's raffle night are a small but significant step in funding research and starting a clinical trial for Hannah and other families affected by GAN. In addition to prize giveaways, the night also featured performances by The Sketchy Characters, Phenomenal Voices, and Serendipity. To find out how UA decided to benefit Hannah's Hope, I spoke with Holly Barker Flynn, Associate Director of ResLife.
As you know, we're in the midst of another Pepsi refresh, and congratulations to you all for helping us win it in August, but guess what? We need your help once again.
In the Pepsi Refresh contest, every vote counts, which is why Lori Sames led the crowd in a mass text vote on raffle night. There are 3 ways to vote each day: text vote, Facebook login, or by visiting refresheverything.com/Hannah'sHope.
Thank you all so much. We deeply appreciate the support of the UAlbany community. Thank you all.
From the Campus Center, I'm Jason Seligson, ATV 360.
Thanks, Jason. On that note, Scott, do you think UAlbany does enough fundraising?
Well, let me start by saying there's no such thing as enough fundraising. I mean, obviously, ideally, you'd like to do as much fundraising possible. The sky's the limit. But at the same time, I mean, Albany is definitely doing their share. I mean, you look at it, Citizen Laureate event helped raise more than $170,000 towards student scholarships last year. I mean, Relay for Life raised over $31,000. I mean, we have so many programs in different ways that students could give back and the community could give back to both this school, the community, and on national levels too. I mean, I feel like it's not easy to, you know, give to others. You know, everybody has their own problems, especially the way this country is going with the economy. But I think we do work hard enough to try to raise enough money.
And I agree. You know, we do definitely a good job at fundraising. According to the bizjournal.com, UAlbany received $29.5 million in donations to build our business school. And we've also helped fundraise for Hannah's Hope Fund, which we all know about. But I think the real problem here is, yes, we have done a lot of fundraising. And like you said, there's no such thing as enough fundraising. But when it boils down to it, it comes out of the students' participation. I feel like there's a lot of participation from on-campus students necessarily. But what about the off-campus students? As myself, as an off-campus student, I don't know much about what's going on sometimes. And I feel like that's how a lot of us are, and we necessarily don't get as involved as on-campus students do.
Well, I feel like, yeah, on campus there's a lot of things in your face at all times, you know, everywhere you go, there's different events and things you could do. And when you're off campus, you know, you kind of lose sight of things a little bit because it's not in your face, you know, you think about your schoolwork and, you know, your laundry and whatever the heck it is when you're down, you know, you're downtown. But, I mean, at the same time, it's not even just the students giving back. I mean, we have the University at Albany Foundation.
Right.
It gets $13 million of revenue, over $13 million of revenue a year, with only a staff of 12 people. So, I mean, it doesn't always take a large group of people to raise a lot of money. But, I mean, at the same time, you could always work more, you could always work harder. It's just about fitting it in the budget. I mean, obviously what our school's doing right now with renovations and, you know, just all, like, advancing teams and things like that, I feel like we are raising somewhat money, you know. It's got to come from somewhere.
So, Kristina, are you saying that it's more of like an awareness thing?
Yeah.
That they're not like advertising as much as they should?
Well, I feel like they're advertising as much as they should, but I feel like students aren't getting involved as much as they should. Just, you know, with the Hannah's Hope Fund, for instance, we helped them win the Pepsi Refresh Challenge the first time around. And I'm not saying that we're solely responsible for the reason why they lost the second time around, but I feel like there wasn't necessarily as much participation.
Yeah, usually it's like, you know, not a lot of people think outside the box. They don't really look to other people as much. They don't care as often. I mean, obviously everyone's going to think about their own problems. And it takes a lot to really go out and donate and, you know, try to raise money for a good cause. So, I mean, hopefully we can keep improving and, you know, keep growing because we have been growing. But, you know, it would be nice to see better numbers, too, over the next few years.
So, final points?
Like you said, we do enough fundraising for the school, but there's not enough. There's never enough fundraising, and we could definitely do more to get students involved.
I think we're doing a good job. Keep up the good work, and hopefully we can continue to raise money in years to come.
Okay, so we are going to move on to a special report, excuse me, brought to us by another ATV 360 alum, Miss Susie Clefane.
The classes offered through the group exercise program range from high-intensity workouts like kickboxing and boot camp to more rhythmic dance classes such as hip-hop and Zumba. If you'd rather become more flexible and focus on your mind and body, you could try Pilates, yoga, or willpower and grace. Alternatively, if you want to take stress off your joints, you could head downstairs to the pool for water aerobics. Class times and places are posted on the pink sheets around the PE building and vary from semester to semester. If you're interested in taking a class, you can pay $7 for a day pass. Alternatively, if you want a weekly workout, buy a punch card for $60 for 12 sessions or $36 for 6 sessions. For more information, please visit www.albany.edu/campus-recreation/class_descriptions.shtml.
Thanks, Susie. So I have to bring this up. What do you guys think about what's going on with Charlie Sheen? Like, I know I'm a huge fan. I love him. I think he's great. But what do you guys think?
I mean, I've always loved Charlie Sheen, love his movies, love his, well, I don't love his TV show, but, I mean, he's always been, you know, in the public eye, And I mean, obviously he's been hiding what he's been doing, I guess. I don't know what it's been, but I mean, he always looked crazy to me. I always knew he was doing some kind of thing.
I think everyone kind of knew that he was, you know, the drunk who ordered hookers to his hotel rooms. I don't think that was a big secret, but it's just like all coming out right now. I feel like we're attacking it.
Yes,
it's more in our faces.
How many specials have been on TV in the last few days, you know?
Personally, I think they're hilarious.
Oh, it's the best thing on television.
I mean,
every time,
come on,
you know?
who isn't talking about this?
But I mean,
it's all over, and like we said, it's more in your face now. I don't think he was ever necessarily trying to hide that he was a drug addict.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's pretty open with it now.
Yeah, but I mean, what is that about? Why in America all of a sudden you decide to be real and finally, you know, say what's going on, and every question that's asked you, you answer truthfully, and then you get bashed in the media.
He wins. He's a winner.
He is a winner. He is a winner. I mean, Keith Richards and all them, I mean, they do drugs, and it's cool. It's cool because they're rock stars.
Right.
Why can't Charlie Sheen be a rock star?
Yeah.
I mean,
2.5 Men is a rock star kind of show.
It's a rock star kind of show. I mean,
he's open about it. You know, that's what everyone wants. They want the celebrities to be open about it.
Yeah, I mean, they want controversy.
It's such entertainment.
But and I think we should free Charlie. What do you
Free
guys
Charlie?
think? Yeah,
I'm down with that.
All right.
Crack kills though, so yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
We're gonna
It's a Charlie
take
look.
one more commercial break, and when we return, we will get into the debate of the day.
Turn up the lights in here, baby. You know what I need. Want you to see everything. Want you to see all of the lights.
I'm so scared. We're at the After Hours crew, and Joe Bonilla just really sucks at telling jokes. He's not funny. I'm really scared. I don't think he's gonna make it in life. He just smells like a Puerto Rican. Joe Bonilla doesn't know what's coming for him. God, I'm so scared.
And now, the debate of the day.
Welcome back. I am so excited for this debate of the day. It's going to be so intense. Okay, teacher cuts. What effect will the teacher cuts have on the students, Scott?
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious. It's going to have the worst effect possible. I mean, I don't understand why this isn't a priority in our city, in our state, I mean, in our country, let alone. Because, I mean, the teachers, I mean, our children are our future. And when you're cutting this many teachers, in New York City alone, over 4,500 teachers are going to get laid off. I mean, most will lose 1 to 5 teachers, 9 will lose half of the teachers in their school. You're going to pack out classrooms, there's going to be double the number of kids, and they say it's so hard to reach a child when they're in such a large population. You really need a personal, you know, to reach them on a personal level, and you can't do that with all these kids. I mean, it's just not going to work out. I mean, I feel like that should be a priority now is education. We're really slipping and sliding down the education side.
The only thing with that, though, is, you know, I agree with you. When it boils down to it, education is the most important thing in our society. But if we don't do these cuts, where else is the money going to come from? What else are we going to cut? New York State is at a deficit of almost $6 billion right now. We have to close that somehow.
Yeah, but I just feel like if you're going to close it, there has to be somewhere else. I mean, this is probably one of the most important things. I mean, you look at it, Mayor Bloomberg said, well, would you like us to take cops off the street? Well, when you look at the history, you look at the stats, less education leads to a higher crime rate. So I guess we're going to need those cops now since we're cutting teachers. The worst part about the policy is Bloomberg said it's going to be a last in, first out policy, which means the newest teachers are all getting laid off. Right. So what does that mean? Who's going to want to be a teacher now? You see the new teachers in schools who just got there, they're all getting laid off, and they have the experienced teachers, the ones who are comfortable in their jobs, who have been there, who are probably getting lazy with the jobs and care less than anybody, teaching huge groups of kids, and they don't want to do it anymore, and now no one's going to want to be a teacher after this, so we're not hurting ourselves now, we're also hurting our future. I mean, our children are our future, and right now, we're cutting them down at the knees, and there's something we have to do about this. It's not good.
Again, with Mayor Bloomberg, his budget account was reduced completely. I mean, it was for funding of education in New York City alone, it was cut $1.4 billion. And then also $850 million in federal stimulus support for teacher salaries. And not only that, we're not only cutting teacher jobs. We also, he's 16,000 childcare slots, which, okay, maybe Mayor Bloomberg has a problem with kids, but 20 firehouses in New York City alone, and in addition, closing 100 senior centers. And he plans to save $27 million by doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of money. It's a lot of money to save. But I mean, everyone's having a hard time right now. Everyone in the city, all city jobs, like, it's really tough. Unemployment's really tough. But I feel like education is a foundation of our nation. Yeah, it's good. It rhymes. Didn't plan that, but it rhymes. But I really feel like you have to start with the kids. And I feel like we just, it's getting worse and worse. It's not going to get any better. It's a solution, but it's not solving any kind of problem. Like, it's just going to make it worse. I mean, it's not the right solution.
Well, we don't want to cut our teachers, but we don't want to pay higher. We don't want to pay higher tuition, and the taxpayers don't want to pay more taxes. So what else are we supposed to do? And not only that, according to Governor Cuomo's office for New York State is the #1 in education spending. But when it comes to public education alone, we're number 34 in the country. That's ridiculous.
I mean, well,
if we're so hopped up on education, then why aren't we higher in those numbers? We're New York, baby. I think we should be a lot better off than that.
Well, we should be the best, but I mean, I think we're more worried about testing than anything else, and that's the problem. Put the kids through, push them through, and get the graduation rate. That's why the numbers are high. I mean, when you look at it, like, that's all we do. You put the kids in the class, you let them skate by. I mean, there's so many kids in each classroom, so the teachers will pay attention. Next thing you know, bam, they're out to graduate, and they can't even read. What's that about?
So what are your final points?
My final point here is just, I understand that we don't want to do teacher cuts, but when it boils down to it, where else are we going to get this money from?
I mean, we are in a very tough situation, and there's not a lot of ways to go with it, but I feel like education should be our main priority right now, and that's not where we should make our cuts.
Good debate. I could feel the intensity. All right, this has been ATV 360. I'm Lindsay McKern.
I'm Kristina Hall.
And I'm Scott Hosey.
Have a good night.